Hello everyone, my name is Gone Turbo, and this is Skyrim Anniversary Edition on the Xbox One. It is January 2022, and in this video I'd like to share with you my New Year 2022 load order. This is on the Xbox One. I am playing on the original Xbox One, and I've been modding this game since the Special Edition release, and have been keeping up with mods, and have been trying different mods as they come out, and trying to create the best looking Skyrim game that I can on the Xbox One. We have just recently had the 10-year anniversary of this game, and it's still popular and it's still great to play. So in this video, sharing with you my load order. I'm going to go down the load order right now, and you'll see video clips and screenshots after the load order. I do want to go down this video and talk about a couple of mods. Sometimes in some of my other videos I just skim through them, but I want to point out some highlights since this is a new year and we're pretty excited about that. So here we are, top of the load order. I do have the special edition patch. A lot of my load order, other than graphic mods, are gameplay mods that make the game a little bit more realistic. I do have the Survival Creation Club downloaded, but I don't have it active, so these aren't quite in my gameplay yet. For my interior lighting, I am using the Lux interior lighting mod, which is fully placed a little bit further down in the load order, but there is this master file which automatically populates towards the top of the load order here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I have a couple of mods that change some of the look of some of the towns and cities. For sound mods, I just wanted to point out that I use Reverb and Ambience Overhaul and Immersive Sounds Compendium. I highly recommend these two mods here for improvement in the way the sound effects are in the game. I use the Dropbox load order template, which I'll leave a link to in the pinned comment. I have most success with the Dropbox load order template. Getting here into foliage types of mods here. A couple of mods that add trees. For my grass mod, lots of grass mods out there. I'm using Kind's Grass medium setting. This incorporates a lot of different types of grasses, which is why I really like it, because it adds such a variety, using a lot of popular other mods like Vedosbrum and Skyrim Flora Overhaul and Verdant. So it's using like a lot of the best mods and creating this kind of like all-in-one unique grass experience, which is really cool. It's a little big in size, 100 megabytes, but it's really worth it. And I'm using Dense Grass also, even though Kind's Grass is medium settings, because Dense Grass, I don't know, I just have always used it. A couple other mods that touch upon foliage, landscape fixes. This is one that is a must-have because it removes grass in places that grass shouldn't be growing. Darker Distant LOD, or level of detail. So this mod does what it says. It darkens the far background of the game, and with my setup here, it helps the foreground, midground, and background blend when it comes to the, I guess, the color scheme. So without this mod, the background looks much lighter in color, but this darkens it, so it just makes it look more even. Skyrim is windy. Couple of combat mods here. Tighter melee combat, I mentioned in other videos. It makes weapons swing a little more realistic, you might say. Well, maybe not realistic, but it just feels like it feels tighter. Feels like you have a little bit more control, which is, I find it nice. Some other gameplay mods here when it comes to balanced economy. Some AI overhauls here. We get into some texture mods, Septums HD, Sigils of Skyrim. I would highly recommend you check this one out. It's 60 megabytes, which is a bigger size for just changing the banners in the game, but Definitely worth it. Check this one out, Sigils of Skyrim. Changes all the banners to a nice high quality, but very lore friendly look. For blood and gore, I have more blood and gore, and then enhanced blood textures, better blood splatters, and enhanced blood textures darker. I at one point tried these 4 mods in different combinations here in terms of order, and there's some weird things that had happened. So I finally was able to see that this order right here, if you do use these, makes things look the best. And also, I just had weird things going on with blood and piles of blood when they were all mixed up differently. So if you use these, try that specific load order out. For some display mods here, so I am using, it's towards the bottom, but I'm using Rustic Weathers, and for display enhancements, I'm simply adding 1 to 2 layers of saturation and I believe 2 layers of contrast. I would recommend that no matter what you are using for a weather or lighting mod, that you look at contrast increase as something to try, and playing with saturation a little bit. I'd recommend changing brightness rather in your menu settings and not using display enhancements. Dynamically disable eye adaptation in bloom. I disable bloom, but I also enable eye adaptation, which makes the dark areas a little bit more even, so you don't get these really pitch washed out dark areas. Rustic Weathers presets. I use Harsh, which actually disables bloom anyway, so for Rustic Weathers I use Harsh. This here is a music mod. It's Jeremy Sewell, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, inspired Skyrim music. It adds over 1.5 hours of exploration music using Jeremy Sewell's composing techniques. New tracks are added frequently. So this is chapter 2. It's got just it adds music that I go back and I think, was that the original, from the original soundtrack, or is this something that's from the mod? It's that good that it blends so perfectly to the Skyrim musical atmosphere, you might say. So if you're looking for more Skyrim music, it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it would be something that I would probably buy separately and just listen to, anytime other than playing the game. Quieter Dungeons and Caves is really awesome. I've had this mod, it's been out for a long time, and I've had it in my load order. So if you don't have this mod, there's kind of these sound effects that happen in Dungeons and Caves that are just part of the game. But this completely eliminates those, which makes Dungeons and Caves completely silent, which would be a little bit more of a realistic or a little more realistic thing, unless you come across, a character or, something that is making noise. So that's what that's all about. All right, a couple other gameplay mods here. Cheat Room, Shiogreth's cheat menu. I use this natural typeface font overhaul. Gregorian Skyrim calendar takes the Elder Scrolls calendar, like Morning Star and Sun's Dawn and First Seed and all of that, and turns them into actual Gregorian calendar months: January, February, March, April, that kind of thing, and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well, and all that. The only body change mod that I use is Texture Tweaks Female Face Edits. I like this one because it is really nice, actually. It only changes faces. It doesn't do any body mesh replacers or anything like that. So you don't need to mess with a lot more than when it comes to body mods and meshes and patches and things like that, unless you're really into that. This changes all the female faces in the game, not the male. Just makes it a little bit more pleasant. Let's see. a simple vanilla hair mod that seems to be gone. For my weapons mod setup, I have additional lore weapons, heavy armor new weapons, Skyrim Special Edition expanded Skyrim weapons, and Silmarill's Lord of the Rings weapons. Now, somebody once mentioned that there might be some of these that overlap, but what at least they do in this order is add a lot more weapons. So feel free to check these out. And of course, being a Lord of the Rings fan, this is like one of the best. This is the best Lord of the Rings weapons mod that exists. I think it's the only one that creates them to be what look like the weapons from the movie. So, Old Kingdom weapon overhaul. This is the mod that I use that changes the texture of weapons, but also adds new weapons and some new meshes to ones that already exist. For my clothing and armor overhaul, I use, let's see, all right, variations, armor and clothing. This really more darkens the texture and coloring of the armors in clothing. It says it's a texture and mesh replacer, but a lot of them look the same. So, you know, you're not going to get anything too crazy, but it does touch on all the vanilla armors. And, but it doesn't seem to touch ebony, which is why I have this little one here that just improves the armor. Forsworn armor variants expansion, which just does a little bit more with the armors in the game. Some of the helmets and cuirasses. And then we get into Fashions of the Fourth Era and the patch, variations patch that allows it to work together. Fashions of the Fourth Era is cool. It's kind of it kind of mashes up all the clothing and armors in the game. So, and it also allows NPCs to change clothes. So it's kind of cool. You might go into Whiterun and see a character have a different outfit on each day, and maybe some different variations to it. So not just one outfit, but maybe parts and pieces to it as well, if that makes sense. Let's see. This section here has a lot of gameplay mods that I like. Again, in some cases, trying to make the game a little bit more realistic. If I go on a survival type of character thing, I have some different things here. Some, you know, unique loot types of mods. Cow milking, goat milking. Tweaked arrows and bolts, wearable lanterns, skeletal, XP32 maximum skeleton, realistic ragdoll. It's a pretty popular mod here. This is a little maybe unknown secret. If you are doing a survival character, wood is very heavy. A log is very heavy. So if you are, you know, doing campfire, frostfall gameplay, you will have very heavy logs, firewood with your character. And if your survival setup allows you to not carry a lot, it's gonna be very challenging to survive, if you will. So this is a little bit of a cheat. It lowers the firewood weight to 1, and logging Skyrim is awesome because you can walk up to a tree and harvest it just by pressing A, and allow you to get 1 log of firewood instead of having to chop or even use the campfire approach to collecting and gathering wood that way. So that's what that is. All right, here's the Lux interior mod. It's up to 94 megabytes. It's on version 3.9, and it really is fantastic. I've discovered it more recently and wanted to try it out. It's definitely unique. It adds a very realistic feel to interiors and does some really cool stuff to certain populated interiors like like houses and in shops and things like that. But a lot of reworking of interior lighting. I would say right up there with like ELFX in terms of what it does, in terms of changes, but also in size as well. So something to check out. There's a special edition patch for the patch, a patch for the patch. If you're using the patch, if you're using the unofficial patch, you need this patch. So, all right, I put these above the next set of mods here. So towards the bottom, get towards the bottom here, for texture overhauls, like I said, I try to make the game the best looking that I can. I use the graphics pack. This is a mod that has been out for a long time and seems to be updated regularly, but it changes and improves textures of so many things in the game. Almost, I don't want to say almost all of it, but gosh, probably what, 75, 80, 90% of textures in the game. Not only objects, but in this setup, buildings, towns, cities, castles, farmhouses. Obviously, you can see here so many objects in the game, from firewood baskets, apples, food, jewelry boxes, thistle, plants. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that it improves. There's a lot of different add-ons that can go along with this. I have the Static Mesh Performance Plus. Graphics Pack used to have add-ons like 1 and 2, which are no longer needed. It's been updated to just have this all-in-one, which is great. I'm also using for add-ons the Dark Landscape and I think it's Landscape and something. This is the landscape texture for Graphics Pack. I used to, before this add-on, I used to use the Rustic Lands landscape and the interior mods that improved, caves, dungeons, tombs, ruins, by the mod author T4 GTR 34UM3R. You can see it here in the mod credit. I used to use all those mods separately, but for some reason, they all appeared in this all-in-one graphics pack add-on for landscapes and the dungeons and tombs and things like that. Maybe he was watching my videos. So naturally, I am now just using the add-on for graphics pack, and just really like how it looks. High poly project. So that's all I'm using for graphics pack. There's other pieces as well, and I'll talk about why I'm not using them in just a moment. This is a silverware improvement, lush trees. And now we get into the thumbnail issue. Lush autumn aspens, which change the color of the trees a little bit. Nordic snow. I'm using Nordic snow, and I believe the add-on here says it does not have a snow replacer. It might actually say somewhere here, oh yeah, snow texture not included. Use this with Nordic snow. So boom, there you go. So I have Nordic snow, better dynamic snow, which I don't think is compatible with Lux, I think it said, but whatever. All right, a couple other things here that I'm overwriting for graphics pack. Skyland towns and villages. I didn't like the way graphics pack changed the farmhouses, but I love the Skyland towns and villages. It changes the like thatch roof, stone floors. So if you go into like a tavern, or if you're going through like Riverwood, that's what it will look like. Yeah, farmhouses, mills, Riverwood, Falkreath, Morthal, Dawnstar, farms and homesteads, things like that. So I like the way this looks over the graphics pack look. And also, Whiterun stone walls, I like the way this looks compared to the graphics pack Whiterun castle stone walls. So that's why I have these in here. All right, then we get into weather and lighting. In my opinion, weather and lighting is your, like I've said, bread and butter of changing the look of your game. If you go on to YouTube and find like Skyrim weather comparison mod videos, you'll just see just how much each weather mod can change the look of the game. So aside from graphics and gameplay mods and textures, if you just want a different look and play around with lighting and colorization and effects and all kinds of things, then playing with weather and lighting mods is the way to go. I use Rustic, and this is the new cold version, which just makes sunny weathers less frequent. Rustic, in my opinion, gives the most natural looking atmosphere in the game. And I have tried just about every other lighting and weather mod that has come out over the years. And I feel it looks the most realistic. It gives a little bit more somber, medieval feel, which it's supposed to do, but I just really like it. I am using True Storms and this patch, this Desmera patch, that all it does is incorporates the True Storms sound effects and rain and snow textures. So even though you see True Storms here, which in itself can make the game look different, it's still keeping all of the rustic weather's look, but only adding the texture of rain and snow and the sound effects of like thunder and rain and stuff like that. Obsidian Mountain Fog. Then we get into, this is a Picta series improved sky mesh. It's supposed to make some improvements to the sky. I think it's working. I think I'm seeing a difference. And I'm trying this Lux Orbis 1K. It's supposed to help with outside, exterior lighting when it comes to like candles, quote unquote candles. So lighting sources, torches, sconces, bowls of fire, things like that. Like windows, exterior windows looking in at nighttime, things like that. Torches, that kind of stuff. I'm using useful torches, which increases brightness a little bit because the Lux is very dark on the inside. Like, so if you go into a cave, it's pitch black. Only lighting sources emit light, and a little bit brighter torch has helped as well. Flickering meshes. Interior mods are notorious for creating flickering inside, so trying this one because of static mesh or purposes, and I still see some flickering here and there, but I don't know. The only way around that is to just use vanilla. Not use any interior lighting mods, in my opinion. Flowers and Plants Mesh Fix. This is supposed to, this is a new mod that when some flowers are in the shade, it's supposed to make them darker than just being lit as if they were in the sunlight. I hope that makes sense. Wonders of Weather. I use this Realistic Waters 2 Special Edition. There's a couple of editions of Realistic Waters 2, but I'm using this one. Bleak HUD, Belt Fastened Quivers, Alternate Start, Live Another Life. There's this Lux Special Edition patch, this one I was talking about. This probably might need to go somewhere else in the bottom here, but... And then remove Black Box Water Reflection, which every time I activate it, it seems to disappear. And because I have this little arrow, you can see underneath this mod, there's that little triangle. That means there's some hidden mods under there, which probably means that if I go to download more mods, at some point it's going to say not enough space. So that means I probably have some ghost save space happening. Now, right now I have 305 megabytes of free space with this load order. So that's a lot extra to play around with anything new that comes out, which is, in my opinion, a comfortable amount of space. So that's my load order. The rest of this video will be screenshots and video clips of this in action. I have 136 out of 150 mods in action. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Enjoy 2022 and enjoy Skyrim Anniversary Edition. It's been Gone Turbo. I'll talk to you again soon.